Straub, and we are returning with our second episode this week. Hopefully, I can get it up this week with Mike Martinez of Big Rican on Sports. Would you like to refresh our audience on as to who you are?
Hey guys, as Frank said, I'm Mike Martinez, Big Rican on Sports. Cover as much of the overall sporting world as possible, but I stick a lot to my teams, which is one of the reasons Frank asked me to do this with him, because I am a big college football guy with my allegiance firmly with Ohio State, but also the Mets, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Browns, and then, like I said, I try and get to everything, but I mostly stick to my teams most of the time.
All right, and Mike is joining me today for a mock draft special. Now, this is a little bit of a rough draft for me. I finished most of my big board, but it's not completely finished. It'll be completely finished for second and third mock around actual draft time, but we'll figure we'll feel ourselves out here and have a little bit of fun. So on the clock first, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. I think we all know where I'm going. I think Mike knows where I'm going, and I think everybody else does. Coming off a 2-14 season in which Andy Dalton was inherently average once again, 16 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. In the games he missed injury, Ryan Finley showed a lack of accuracy. Joe Burrow will fit right in with Zach Taylor, and with overturn on the O-line, we can actually see a replication of a Ram zone scheme, seeing as Zach Taylor came from Sean McVay's underling society of coaching with Mixon and Burrow. As for Mixon's tangibles and intangibles, he has a lack of big arm strength, but he makes up for it with excellent accuracy, good poise, accuracy, and confidence. Is one of the best QBs in the pocket coming out of college in terms of presence and awareness. Maybe scheme dependent, like I said, at the next level. I think this is the guy. I think he can be a franchise quarterback, especially for the Bengals, who are in a need of 4-1 and haven't won a playoff game in 30 years. Joe Burrow is the pick.
Oh, I agree with you, Joe. And here's the other thing that everybody's mentioned, and I'm surprised you didn't. Joe Burrow's from Athens, Ohio. His dad coached at OU. Burrow, of course, did his undergrad at Ohio State. He lost the job after a broken hand and a very close competition to Dwayne Haskins a few years ago, as I wear the 2017 Big Ten Championship hat. He's going to be great. You know what I liken him to, Frank? I liken him to a more athletic Chad Pennington. He's not going to blow your mind away with the arm. He's not going to throw the bullet pass at 100 miles an hour like Elway or even guys now like Mahomes last night. But he's going to get the ball where it's got to be put to the guy it's got to go to just about every time. You don't complete almost 70% of your passes without doing that.
All right. Nothing else to say on that. Moving to number 2 on the clock, Mike has the pick.
Number 2 is also a no-brainer, in my opinion. It's the Washington Redskins, who have needs on both sides of the ball. But in my opinion, I am with Joel Klatt on this, and defensive end Chase Young from The Ohio State University is the pick at number 2. He is the best prospect in this draft. I don't think it goes without saying. As good of a year as Burrow had, if anybody but Cincinnati had the top pick, Chase Young would be the number 1 pick in the draft. 16 and a half sacks, and he missed 2 games, helped lead a team to a college football semifinal run, which they should have gotten to the next round, but we won't talk about referees now either. But listen, he's a physical freak. He scarily is better than the Bosa brothers.
Yep.
Scarily.
Like
if they don't, especially with Ron Rivera taking over and the defensive mind he is being on that 85 Bears team, this guy is the guy.
Agreed. I think he's going to fit right in. I'm assuming Ron Rivera is going to want to go fast and physical on defense with a fresh start. Chase Young, like you said, is the most complete prospect available. He has incredible strength, speed, bendiness, all the standard traits. And he also accompanies that with excellent side-to-side agility, which I think is going to really help him in run defense, athletically get to the ball.
Yeah, and the other cool thing I thought about him was just watching, obviously paying more attention to Ohio State than I did other teams this year. He actually is very good with his hands, which is something both Joey and Nick Bosa had to learn at school. And I feel like Nick has learned a little faster than Joey did, even though Joey was a monster. Chase Young, I think, is a little bit more advanced with his hand-to-hand work on the end. And listen, in that NFC East, you know it as good as anybody else. There are decent quarterbacks in the NFC East, and they need a pass rusher. He's the guy.
Agreed. So I have a couple options at number 3 with the Detroit Lions. Now, obviously, the glaring one is Jeffrey Okudah coming out of Ohio State, who I really like. But there is also a little bit of a curveball I could throw at you, and I've been debating this all day through yesterday, and I'm really thinking about it. Tua.
You're going Tua at 3? You're out of your mind.
I'm contemplating it. We're not going to. I'm going to give it like 5 more seconds. I think it's a little risky for this early in the draft process for me to just throw that out there. But there is definitely a chance of that happening down the line and then it actually happening. But I am going to go with Okudah. He high football IQ, elite instincts, and discipline. Now, that's what actually stood out on tape to me when studying him. He has solid speed and agility, is great in man. All the physical traits are decent to above average, but his discipline and IQ is really advanced. I think the way he keeps his eyes on the quarterback, especially in the 2018 Rose Bowl game, well, 2019, but early 2019, was really impressive. He uses speed and angles well. The only thing is sometimes his footwork is poor up near the line of scrimmage, and he can get beat in press coverage and get lost. But I think he is the best cornerback in the draft. He's 6th on my big board behind the 2 big receivers and the top 3. But I really like Okudah, and I think I would love him on the Giants. But the Lions have a serious need of defensive talent, but to pair somebody with Darius Slay. So I'm going with the safe pick out of Ohio State.
Yeah, and the thing is, I can say the DBU thing all I want, being a Buckeye fan. But the thing is, just watching him, even in this year's game, think about it. There were 10 targets at him in the Fiesta Bowl. 5 catches for 47 yards, less than 10 yards a catch. He's the one that caused the fumble that got called back. He's also not afraid to hit people, which is big, especially now. You don't get a lot of corners willing to just slap people around. The other thing I like about him, you mentioned his speed. I like his closing speed a lot. Much like Denzel Ward coming out of Ohio State a few years ago, if you catch a ball in front of him or behind him, he'll catch you. So he's got the closing speed if he does have a footwork issue and you get behind him. So I like that. Detroit's basically I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think they're still at a stage where they can get away with attempting to protect Matthew Stafford and keeping him on board. But Tua is a generational talent, and he will come up within this top 10, I'm assuming. So we'll talk about it, but it's on the table. It's on the table. So number 4, to you.
I am actually going to surprise you, and I'm not going to go with who I put in there. I am going to give Danny Dimes the one thing that the Giants front office never gave Eli Manning, and I'm going to give him an offensive lineman. And I'm going to give him Jedrick Wills out of Alabama.
Yay!
He's the most athletic offensive lineman. Who I think is the best offensive lineman, this is going to sound messed up, is who I'm taking at 10. But, because, but no, I like him. I'm not a big SEC guy. And I'm not a big fan of the guy he was protecting just because of numbers against teams that had good defenses as compared to the other ones. But this guy, he's the best. I think he's the most athletic offensive lineman in the draft. He's good in pass blocking, and he's really good in run blocking, which, especially with Saquon now being the focal point, unless they do take a wide receiver here, you need that offensive lineman who can also get out and get in front of him too. Take Wills at number 4.
Yeah, I agree. He is. obviously still great upside coming out, which is important. He's athletic, like you said. He has good hand placement. And I think one thing that's interesting is in his time at Alabama last year, he had a 99% success rate, 1 sack and 3.5 quarterback hurries allowed on over 700 snaps.
Yeah.
And additionally, he's mature and coachable, which I think is important under a new coach like Joe Judge, who's going to implement a very disciplined um, regime more so than Pat Shermer had. And I think mentioning Saquon is important because it'll come up a bunch of times in the offseason. I think what we've seen with the 49ers, the Ravens, the Titans, etc., you can run your offense through your running back if you have good run blocking and good scheme. So maybe the Giants will try to implement that and go with that moving forward. And I would be behind that 100%.
I kind of figured. Although I got to say, you and I talked last year when we did the mock draft with Sonny and Joe, and I busted your chops on draft night about Danny Dimes. He's better than I thought he would be.
Well, yeah, I was.
You were distraught.
Well, we've moved past that. We've gotten
Yes,
to a
we
point
have.
we've gotten to a point of acceptance and excitement at this point, probably. So, yeah, he's shown more than what I thought, and he's definitely exceeded expectations, and it's been discussed. But number 5, we have the Miami Dolphins on the clock. So they have the worst, or had the worst offensive line unit in the league, and Josh Rosen was pulled midway through the season, leaving Ryan Fitzpatrick to take the job, and he ended up succeeding. Obviously, that's short term. Hopefully, they had the worst time to pressure allowed in the league, along with the worst quick pressure rate allowed, which 33%. Terrible. They're also in the market for an edge rusher and some impact off the ends, but the pick here, and I think Jedrick Willis was my favorite, but Andrew Thomas.
Okay.
Going Andrew Thomas. He's the most pro-ready out of the top 3. Where is he on my big board? I want to read his. So he's good size. He's 6'5", 320. More pro-ready than Wills with springy footwork, and his size allows him to act as an anchor and kind of absorb contact. Thomas displays good hand placement as well as health and consistency for Georgia, which is very important. However, and I think this is probably what's bringing him down on a lot of mock drafts on the interwebs, he's kind of poor in zone blocking and pull blocking, and that's a staple of the NFL as we move. We saw the 49ers. It's been a staple of the NFL, but we saw the 49ers succeed with it this year and then the Rams a couple of years ago. So that'll need to be improved, but I think he is a very refined prospect and is worthy of top 10 pick, and the Miami Dolphins have a need.
If you didn't take him here, I was coin tossing between him and the guy I actually have at 10 for the Browns. But I like where you're going with that, especially with Miami having that second first-round pick later on, which
and a third. Eventually.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with you. They definitely need offensive line help, especially if they go with the way I think they're going to go. Fitzmagic's going to start the year next year, so they're going to need to protect the old man too. So either way, they need it.
And I'm still, and the reason Tua wasn't a no-brainer here is because I'm still holding on to a little bit of that Josh Rosen hope I had when he was drafted by the Cardinals. And I think he can be a really good scheme-dependent system quarterback, which system I don't use really anymore because everybody's a system quarterback and you need
exactly
to succeed. So, but scheme-dependent, sure. I think he can be a good above average to average quarterback in the NFL. I'm still holding on to that hope. So hopefully that comes true.
No, I got you, and I understand that.
With 100%. Protection, with Andrew Thomas in front.
With protection. Oh, agreed. So I'm at 6 with the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start the carousel at number 6. The Los Angeles Chargers replace the old man and take Justin Herbert, the quarterback out of Oregon. In my opinion, over the long term, will probably have the most upside. He's got the size. He's got the arm talent. He has played through injuries, depleting his weapons and his line at Oregon. Getting the only game I really watched him in was in the Rose Bowl this year. I watched a good portion of it, and Wisconsin is not a bad defense. He stood up to him and he played really, really well. When you give him the weapons LA. When you give him the weapons the Chargers have, this is the guy, especially with Rivers. I think Rivers is done. Justin Herbert goes number 6 to the Chargers.
Well, they said that they are officially parting ways with Philip Rivers as of yesterday or a couple days ago. But
yeah, I hadn't seen that yet. So yeah, they're going quarterback then, definitely first round.
There you go. As for Justin Herbert, you hit it right on the head with the arm talent. He's 12th on my big board. He has legit pro arm strength. He can push the ball down the field with ease. He struggled facing pressure in 2018, but that improved in droves in 2019. He's incredibly poised and accurate short. Outside, he's on outside routes. He's crazy big in the seams, as in big yardage, and he benefits off play action. He has quick release and smooth mechanics. So very good fit there. I would have taken Tua because I think he has he's a better overall prospect, but I like Justin Herbert a lot.
Yeah, and the thing about Herbert, and I'll tell you again, like I said 1,000 times about Tua, if you look at the number breakdown against top defenses and bottom defenses, Tua makes all his hay against the garbage teams Alabama schedules every year, and he is a just about 1 interception to 1 touchdown against good defenses. He is 150 less yards a game, and he is 10% less accurate. So if you're going to be like that in college against the few top teams you play, you're going up to the next level. It's going to be a learning curve. Depending on how big it is and his hip. I don't know. I don't know if I'd take a top 5 on him, but that's sitting here talking to you.
So we are at number 7 with the Carolina Panthers. And the Carolina Panthers are bringing in a new head coach. Obviously, we had Matt Rule, stolen from the Giants, which I'm not too upset about, seeing as they got Joe Judge. I like that hire a lot. But Justin Herbert would have been a player that made sense here, seeing as he played under Coach Matt Rule. And but he's off the board, and I think you
put everything you have into our trucks.
Apologies.
No problem.
That's another window that's open. So we're gonna go Tua here. I think that Will Grier, Kyle Allen obviously showed in the beginning of his stint that he was capable for a little while as a game manager, quote unquote. But eventually he tapered off. Cam Newton's not very healthy. And if he is, neither is Tua right now. But that'll be a good thing to watch going forward, how they both progress. But Tua is the pick that makes sense here because you have Will Grier behind him if this was to go down. And I think that Will Grier is I liked him as like a early second round guy. Maybe could make his way into a starting job. Lacked accuracy long. Hit his routes in the short game very well. But that's neither here nor there. Tua is just way more talented. He's a lefty quarterback, injury concern, although that's alleviating slightly. He has more arm talent than Joe Burrow. He's solid at reading coverages, has excellent touch and accuracy over the middle, is comfortable and diligent in the pocket, going through his progressions. And he has a slight hitch in his delivery, and that leads to slight misses on out routes, both short and intermediate. And you referenced the discrepancy between good defenses and bad defenses. I think at this point in the draft process, at this point in his career, I guess, and how we look at him as a player and a prospect, what you see through the eye test is probably more important than statistics to a certain level. I think his efficiency was off the charts, and I think his production was off the charts. But that when you look deeper, I'm gonna sidestep that just for the sake
Okay.
of what I see when I watch him.
No, and he's good to watch on tape. But my whole thing is who's on the tape that he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he does have the hitch. It's not as bad as Tebow, but he does have the hitch. Throwing, I don't think many lefty quarterbacks haven't had a hitch. Boomer had one, and Tua's got the one here. What I worry about with him is he, and I'm sorry, it's just something I do worry about. Are his numbers and his tape a product of what he's playing against?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're talking about a guy who was handed the Heisman after taking over in a game where a defense didn't prepare for him. Because he was the number one on the Heisman board after the championship game against Georgia, where he didn't play that great until that big throw at the end. The thing why I think Carolina is a great fit for him is Christian McCaffrey. Tua does not have to be the sole part of the offense. He has a dynamic all-pro, basically jack of all trades in McCaffrey, who is going to be a stud for years. So I like Tua to Carolina. I would have liked D-line here. But no, I like Tua to Carolina at that point, especially with McCaffrey being healthy. And listen, Cam's short term there. If they have him for one more year and Tua plays next year, do they give the hip a year? It's not a bad move.
Obviously, I agree. So moving to number 8 on the clock, the Arizona Cardinals.
Arizona's going to go O-line too. I like Mekhi Becton from Louisville. He's going to be the blindside guy for Tua. Sorry, for Kyler Murray. With the scheme that Kingsbury, right, is their head coach.
Yeah,
I'm having like massive spots in my brain tonight. Kingsbury, he runs that up-tempo, college-style offense, and all the ones that are good at the collegiate level have great offensive lines. So I'm going to go Mekhi Becton from Louisville here. Pretty athletic guy. Louisville runs a run-heavy offense, and an option offense, so that he's going to be good with that and jumping right in with Kyler. I thought about a receiver here because Fitzgerald is in his last year, but they need to protect their investment.
So 2 things, actually, on the Arizona Cardinals. I'm very surprised you didn't go Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa, and I think I know why. So I guess I'm not that surprised. But and then secondly, on the receiver front, I would have really gone receiver because you have 2 very, I think, close to the 1A and 1B on my big board. Not 1A and 1B, but 4 and 5. But in terms of actual, when you're comparing them, 1A and 1B, Lamb and Judy.
Yep.
And you have a need there because Christian Kirk has been consistent when he's on the field and productive, but hasn't really been healthy all the time. Fitzgerald's getting old, obviously. We've seen him keep coming back. They didn't play Andy Isabella a lot, and they're really lacking that number 2 and really number 1 outside receiver who can stretch the field. So I'm not questioning the Becton pick because I think he has great size. He uses his power great. He actually has surprising speed and footwork. His hands are too heavy, but that's not very important.
That can be coached.
You have time to improve that, yep. And he does continue to grow his game. So I like the pick in itself. I just would have gone receiver.
Yeah, I had to flip a coin here. And yes, Wirfs, there's a reason. But I just felt like they have put, especially with, you took Josh Rosen in the first round. You traded the world you sacked the season, and you took Kyler Murray to appease your new coach. And you need to protect the guy because he's your big investment. Now, can you get quality receivers in the second round? Yes. Can you get quality receivers in the third round? Yes. Are any of them Judy or CeeDee Lamb? No. But did anybody see Michael Thomas doing this?
Nope, and we're glad he did.
Yes.
For the Saints' sake. But moving to number 9, correct? The Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe
Uh-huh.
I'm on the clock, and I think this is a I think I'm gonna throw a little wrench in your plan here.
You're going to take Tristan Wirfs?
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I honestly don't.
So as for his fit with the Jacksonville Jaguars, not really fit, but resigning Yannick Ngakoue is their top priority. And although there are problems on the outside of the tackles, Cam Robinson, and opposite him, AJ Can, I believe, is the right tackle. They struggled this season, but like I said, Yannick Ngakoue, interior defensive line, you got to bring him back. He had a great season. Next to him, Taven Bryan had an excellent sophomore campaign. Derek Brown is an option here. I like Derek Brown a lot, and we'll get into it, I assume. I'll give you my take on him. But let's assume here that Yannick Ngakoue gets brought back because there still is time as we approach the draft. Brown might become more of an option. But Tristan Wirfs here, good size at 6'5", 322 with a long, thick frame. Interesting contrast, I think, but in his run approach and pass approach, he employs two strategies. In defense, he pass rush defense, he's patient and waits for the rusher to initiate contact, using heavily disciplined hands to neutralize. And then in run defense, he's a lot more aggressive and gets the point of contact first, and uses his strength and power to neutralize his opponent. So, yeah, Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You are absolutely right with everything you said. I am a huge proponent of the Big Ten offensive lineman. Last time the Browns took a Big Ten offensive lineman in the first round, you know what his name is? Joe Thomas.
Not Greg. Yeah, I was going to say Greg Robinson, but it's not Greg.
No, don't do that. He needs to be ushered out of town as fast as possible. But yeah, it was Joe Thomas, and that worked out pretty well. You're talking about maybe the best left tackle to ever do it. But yeah, that's who I was saving for the Browns. Throwing things at you virtually. But no, you're absolutely right. That's exactly why you want Tristan Wirfs on that team, especially Jacksonville with Leonard Fournette and the Gardner Minshew / Nick Foles experiment. You got to have somebody to keep somebody healthy. So that's a great pick. And I'm on the clock at 10. My Cleveland Browns, and I am going to let you speak on someone with the offensive lineman gone, knowing they're going to have to do this in free agency and later in the draft. I will take defensive lineman Derek Brown from Auburn to put on that line with Sheldon Richardson and Olivier Vernon and Myles Garrett once he is back, and Larry Ogunjobi and all those boys in that defense, and let's get after the quarterback if we can't protect our own. I love this guy. I watched a little bit of the Iron Bowl. He got after it, and they won the Iron Bowl. Not really familiar with the Auburn guys because I don't watch a lot of SEC, but he's quick. He's powerful. He gets it done against big offensive linemen, and that's what's in the AFC North. So you know a little bit more about him, so I'll let you speak on him, but I'll take Derek Brown there for the Browns.
I love it. I think Derek Brown has a great first step, which I think is important. It's not as explosive as some of the guys we've seen coming out, like Nick Bosa. Even Ed Oliver, I think, has actually, don't let me get ahead of myself. Derek Brown does have a superior first step. I don't want to get too far into that. He uses a fluid combination of speed and power to shed blocks, scary, fast, and open space. His closing speed is, like you alluded to with our old friend Jeff, similar and is more impressive due to his size. And plays hard, thick frame to push into blocks, has this nifty, agile spin move off the line that was one of the only moves that worked against Alabama. But actually, like you mentioned in the Iron Bowl, against a top unit like Alabama, you can actually see these traits, like the speed and the power, shine through more than any other game, I think. Because even though he's not making it fast all the time, you're seeing that first step and you're seeing how he gets there. Although some guys are bigger than him, so he was not really able to get past, but it was still impressive, and you could see what's going to lead to a successful NFL career.
No, you're absolutely right. And the thing I was most impressed with him is that he looks like he's stable on the run, where a lot of the D linemen come out of college now, all they care about is going after the quarterback because they think that's what's going to get them paid. This guy played the run really well. And I like that, especially with some of the issues the Browns had with the ground games of other teams, and especially with having the Ravens basically coming back untouched for next season. They're the guys to beat in the division, so you got to have somebody who can stop the run in the middle. I like him there.
All right.
You get the Jets.
I think with all the offensive linemen gone, all the ones that I have graded up in the top of the first round, I'm gonna take AJ Epineza out of Iowa. I think they have everybody has a need for an impact rusher off the edge, and he's not as dynamic as Chase Young, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett, but he gets it done, as one of your favorite phrases.
Yeah.
But AJ Epineza, good size in terms of length, game predicated heavily on power versus speed, has good fluidity and movement, but lacks first step explosiveness. Big hands and good placement with those hands. He can get beat on his lead shoulder and doesn't really have the lateral movement to recover. Run defense, he makes up for it with his long arms, and he can make efficient wrap tackles. He has a good motor and plays past the whistle with intensity. So AJ is a Phil Redding next to Quinnen Williams. That's a dangerous combination of power.
Agreed. And having watched Apenza twice this season, I can tell you he was one of the biggest issues our offensive line had at Ohio State. The scores didn't show that. And the reason the scores didn't show that is if you watch the tape, they ran away from him. And the speed that Ohio State carries is, was able to run away from him. You're talking about the first step explosiveness. No, I like that pick for the Jets. I almost, with who's on the board, would have given Sammy a weapon.
I was thinking about that too.
But it helps me because I'm going to help Gruden right now.
Oh, yeah, I gave you a slam dunk right here.
Hold on. Which one? Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy to the Raiders.
Okay, I agree with you. Go ahead.
And maybe he's catching balls from Brady. But, yeah, you know what? They need – look, they traded Amari Cooper. They need a number one. Jeudy, in my opinion – and this is not a shot at CeeDee Lamb, but there's a reason that Oklahoma had 2 consecutive Heisman Trophy winners and a guy who, in my opinion, should have been a finalist as well. Or was Hurts a finalist?
I don't know.
Hold on.
Gonna be straight up, I do not know.
Yeah, he was, because it was him, it was Burrow, it was Fields, and it was Chase Young. Okay. So you're talking 2 straight Heisman winners and a finalist at the quarterback position because of the scheme. But CeeDee Lamb can fly like Hollywood. I think Judy's a better route runner. I think Judy's better in the open field. A lot of the things you see from CeeDee Lamb is he's getting behind people. Jeudy was running routes. So I like Jeudy here. Gruden's old school, so he wants his receivers to run routes, not just run deep. Judy's the guy.
All right. I agree with you. I think, like I said it before, 1A, 1B, but I do like Jeudy slightly more. Fast as hell, burns on his release. Slight improvement in his bump off the line from 2018 to 2019, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
His smoothness is off the charts in his feet. He can cut corners like butter. Changes directions with ease, and his footwork is graceful and agile, along with quick, athletic, and good ball skills. He can jump really high, which you would expect a route runner like that to kind of be limited in ball skills, but his athleticism is off the charts, and so are his hands. And he also has solid blocking and can get to the point of attack, so that's another plus for John Gruden.
Yeah.
And Josh Jacobs. So looking forward to that if that is the case.
No, he's definitely a Gruden guy. I really think he can be.
Okay, we have the who's up next?
You.
Our Indianapolis Colts. Oh, they lack elite quarterback talent, significant wide receiver talent, and could use an impact rusher, edge rusher if available. So I think obviously Jacoby Brissett struggled last season and doesn't really have the tangibles to be a franchise quarterback. Keeping it real, if they could nab Tua or nab even like Jordan Love, if they really have to get desperate. But CD Lamb is here, and I'm going to take CD Lamb. The one point I disagree with you in comparing the two, Judy and Lamb, is that I think that CD Lamb is better in the open field.
Okay.
Strong, good ball tracking skills. He adjusts well to the ball, which might be a plus with Jacoby Brissett if we're going forward with him for at least this year. Is dangerous in open space. He's light on his feet, shifty. He's better vertically rather than horizontally, which is a route running thing, but also because of his blazing speed. However, he's still smooth when cutting. His lateral movement is on point. Is there anything else over there? Oh, yeah. And he can be a little too physical in contests when going up for the ball, which could be a problem at the next level. But I think the positives outweigh the negatives, obviously. And next to T.Y. Hilton, that's going to be a scary fast problem to deal with.
Yeah, the entire Indianapolis Colts wide receiver core is really fast. He was hurt last year, but Paris Campbell out of Ohio State has set the record for fastest 40 at the combine.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on that in that wide receiver core too. No, I like where you went. I really think Brissett can be better if he had a full year of health and from T.Y. Hilton and from really the offensive line wasn't that great, but that's kind of the way Indianapolis has gone for years. Look why Andrew Luck had to retire because he got the snot beat out of him every single year. Mm-hmm. No, I like that there. I really do. I think if you give Brissett another weapon in one more year with the quarterback class coming out next year, you would still be able to find a guy that you could possibly win with right away, but you can not have to do that if Brissett works out with the new weapons.
Yeah. Two things before we move on. I'm all for Brissett being successful. I think my main thing when we were doing our AFC North preview, which never saw the light of day, was Lamar's not going to be good, but I hope he is. And I was wrong about that. You were wrong about that, and Joey was wrong about that. Sonny was correct. Bias or no bias.
I'm not telling him that though.
I'll tell him that. They 14-2. He had the best season for quarterback in recent memory for me. But what was I going to say? Yeah, so I wish the best for Jacoby Brissett. I'm never going to be negative on a guy. It's always seeing the best or just being realistic. And then secondly, if offensive tackles here, if Wirfs or Thomas was here, because I think Wills is going to go a little more higher in the top 10, and then Becton will be here probably in real life, unless something like this happens and it all gets messed up. But Anthony Costanzo may retire.
Oh,
so that's definitely a thing to look out for.
Wow, I didn't know that. So I got Tampa.
Yep.
I actually thought on this for the last couple of minutes, and I've seen everything from Jacob Eason mocked here to Herbert mocked here to Jordan Love mocked here. I'm going to go a little off book.
Okay.
And I think Bruce Arians likes Jameis.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm going to go Cole Kmet, the tight end from Notre Dame.
Huh.
Give him a big target. He did throw 30 touchdowns, but he threw 30 picks. Kmet's a good he's a good possession tight end. Big dude. He can take a beating if he needs to, and he's pretty decent at run blocking. So now, because I thought about DeAndre Swift here too, but no, I think that they're going to go tight end here. If it was me, because Jameis is a good quarterback. He's got it's up here. You give him more sure-handed guys. He's got the wide outs. I think Komet's good here. I know OJ Howard's down there too, right?
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, OJ Howard is leaves some stuff to be desired, especially for fantasy players. I still think that there's room to be a good tight end because he has the athletic profile and he has the hands. It just needs to click. Him and Jameis need to build some chemistry still. But one thing to notice, I don't agree with this pick.
Okay.
At all. But with circumstance, I kind of understand it. I would look for edge or what else was it? Oh, there's a bunch of or right tackle. DeMar Dotson, Shaquille Barrett, who put up 19.5 sacks, JPP, and Ndamukong Suh are also free agents along with Winston, and I don't think tight end is a.
Well, that's if they keep Jameis. I mean that pick changes if they decide to move on from Jameis.
Yeah, but there are other options too. I'm just throwing that.
Yeah,
out.
no, and I agree with you. I'm thinking Arians wants to keep him, so I want to give Jameis as many outlets where he's not going to do anything stupid as possible.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, and I like him. I'm not the biggest Notre Dame fan, but I do like that kid.
All right. So the Denver Broncos. I think Drew Lock is the future here. I like his arm talent a lot. I think there's room to grow, and there will be time to grow. Offensive line is a need here, but again, the offensive linemen I have graded so far are all off the board. Derek Wolfe is most likely leaving on the interior of the defensive line. And then Chris Harris and Justin Simmons are also most likely departing unless something happens with Chris Harris where he wants to come back. But I think Justin Simmons has said he's going to go. Grant Delpit out of LSU.
I like it.
Strong safety. I think will be more comfortable at the NFL level at strong safety. Best suited there. Excellent in the box. Has the size to cover big receivers and tight ends at the NFL level. At the line, more specifically in man coverage. Has the instincts and awareness in zone. He can get lost in deep coverage with bad angles, but he is a great tackler and has twitchy feet and good pursuit when going after the ball. So, yeah, Grant Delpit, one of my favorite guys in this draft on the defensive side of the ball to the Denver Broncos.
I love that pick for Denver. First of all, yes, Drew Lock is the future of this of the franchise. The thing that I like about Delpit is he's like Jamal Adams 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
He basically Adams graduated, Delpit started, so they played together and he came in right behind him. But no, I like Delpit there. I really do. Denver's defense had some holes. I mean, I only watched them once because they played the Browns. But no, and Elway, I might, if one of the big wide receivers was still there, I would have gone wide receiver there to give Drew Lock another weapon.
But pressure off Cortland Sutton. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like Delpit there. It gives them a better back end talent like they had when they won the Super Bowl a few years ago to go with that great defensive line. So it's me at 16, and for the Falcons, I'm going to stay in the South and chase on from LSU. They need an edge rusher. The guy was the anchor on the off defensive line that won a national title. He's quick off the edge. He had a better year this year than he did last year. He seems to me like he's better with his hands where he's trying to go for the ball more than he is actually trying to, hurt somebody, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I like him here. Atlanta's biggest issue, even before that Super Bowl year when they blew that lead, their defense has let them down for a long time. So Chaseon's going to be the edge rusher for that team at 16.
Love it. And this is perfect for me for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak coming back on the franchise tag most likely. What are you going to do with Amari Cooper? Well, that will be addressed when they want to get to it. There's going to be a lot of departures on the defensive line. DeMarcus Lawrence, Robert Quinn, and I wrote it down. And somebody else are staying. But there's going to be a mass exodus on the besides that, along with secondary departures. A Grant Delpit would be great here. But Javon Kinlaw from South Carolina.
That's a nice pick.
Very long. Lateral movement and electric speed stand out as soon as you start watching him, as soon as I put the TV on, as soon as I fired up that smart TV with YouTube. Wow. Fluid side step to beat blocks. Has good length and long arms to push through blocks. Is slightly raw, but I think he has the physical and athletic profile to grow into that. So Javon Kinlaw here.
I like that. I really do. That's a great pick, especially I had forgotten they had the mass exodus going on the defensive line there. So I will definitely give you that one. Miami, 18. This is Pittsburgh's former first-round pick. And this is where I throw the next curveball. I go DeAndre Swift here. Listen, Josh Rosen's going to need a good running back. Plain and simple. I agree with you. I think Rosen can be the guy if they get the right scheme and if he gets the right fit. Even so, Fitzmagic is not going to be Fitzmagic for much longer. You address the offensive line in the first pick. I'm going to address the running back, which is the ways you keep a quarterback healthy. Good running game, good offensive line. DeAndre Swift from Georgia.
And we've addressed both those things so far. I like it. I think with the circumstances, I do like this pick.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was seeing mocks where they take him with the third pick in the first round that they have at 26, the one from Houston. I just don't know if they can wait.
Agreed. So 19 is the, or 18, 19 is the Las Vegas Raiders, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the Las Vegas Raiders.
So their glaring need was wide receiver, and that was generally addressed in our mock. But I think some of the offensive tackle, linebacker, some secondary help could be employed. But since the guy that has fallen so far, Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah.
Ninth on my big board. Athletic, very versatile. Is probably going to play safety, a safety linebacker hybrid at the NFL level. Has good size. Is 6'3", 203. I think I'm freestyling that, but that sounds right.
No, I think you're right.
Good motor, incredible pursuit, athletic, like I said, and he's really fast. He's electric.
Yeah, he really is. Listen, the only time I've ever seen him get beat and not be able to run somebody down was when Dobbins broke that run in the Fiesta Bowl. It's the only time I've ever seen it. But no, I love that pick. I do. Yeah, I was hoping he dropped to one of mine.
And the versatility, I think, is really going to give the Raiders some options as to what to do on that defense because they're still trying to figure that out.
You know, I toyed with him at 10 for the Browns, but I really wanted the offensive lineman. I can see if they don't get the offensive lineman, them taking him because their D-line is really good. I think Brown might be just a little bit of overkill, but still, he's a phenomenal talent. Jacksonville. Well, you addressed offensive line to my dismay. I'm going to go receiver here for these guys, and I just saw him play in one of his last games, and that's T. Higgins out of Clemson.
Okay.
He is a little – do you or no?
I do.
Little injury issue. Little injury issue earlier in the year. He did play. He played. Nobody really played well in the national championship game for Clemson, especially not Sunshine. But he looked pretty. He's a good route runner. They had Okuda heads up on him most of the night, and I'm pretty sure he had 3 of those catches for most of those yards that he gave up in the Fiesta. But listen, he's a big wide receiver. He's got the good speed. He's 6'4", 216. He can fly. He's going to run like a 4.4, 4.5. Jacksonville needs weapons. T. Higgins.
I like it. I think they I think they have, besides DJ Chark, they have a need there. So that's a good juxtaposition with those two. You can address, again, circumstances. All this is. Address offensive line. You can address the front 7.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot going on there right now. So I like this pick, like I said. So number 21, the Philadelphia Eagles, and we are going to pull the trigger on Xavier McKinney from Alabama. Very diverse athlete, very versatile. Some similarities to Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's good in man-to-man. He's good as a deep safety. He can blitz. Sub packages in the box, pretty good. It's effective, and he's a long safety, 6'1", 200. Pretty athletic, good tackling. Can lead with his head sometimes, and get his head to the ball sometimes in coverage, and that he loses his leverage sometimes, but he does show great anticipation to feel routes, and has some functional strength when feeling those routes. Doesn't have like elite burst off the line. Doesn't have great range, but he's instinctual and makes up for it with the IQ and the technicality.
Oh, excuse me.
And they have a serious need. Darby's for just DB in general. So we're gonna pull the trigger on this McKinney to the Eagles selection.
I like it. As much as I can't stand Alabama, they bring up really good prospects on the defensive side of the ball. It's plain and simple. So I like that there, especially Philly getting burned in the playoffs the way they did.
Yeah.
By Seattle, who's not a very good passing team. They're a running team, and Russell was able to do his thing. So, yeah, the defensive back helps very big there for Philly. So I got those who circle the wagons at 22, the Buffalo Bills. I tossed around wide receiver. I tossed around DeAndre Swift here too. But I'm going to go with wide receiver, and I'm going to go with one of Joe Burrow's favorite targets, and that's Justin Jefferson out of LSU. Look, Josh needs more weapons. He can't be trying to kill dudes, and Cole Beasley isn't a number 1. Jefferson will be a good complement. He was one of the ones that liked to run the deep routes for Joe Burrow, and Burrow would put the ball in his numbers. I think that Josh Allen has that kind of arm. He, like I said, he needs weapons. I like this guy on the outside. He does run routes well. You got to remember, this was a pro-style scheme that New Orleans. Well, basically, Joe Brady came from the Saints, and all of a sudden, Joe Burrow is a Heisman Trophy winner. So I like this guy here. A lot of people saw him going to the Saints because it's basically the same system and fitting in well with Michael Thomas. But no, I think the Bills will jump here and take him at 22.
I like it. So next up, we have the New England Patriots, who are surprisingly high in the not surprisingly at this point. We saw how they lost, but 23. So we saw the Gronk thing. Was we're going to recover from Gronk and we're going to be fine. Didn't really work out. Tom Brady didn't have a lot of high-profile guys to throw to. And Kill Harry didn't really come on as much as he should have down the stretch, although there is still room for him to become something because he's a very good route runner. He has good size. But New England Patriots are going to have to either draft a replacement for Tom Brady, and I don't think they're going to do that in the first round, or give him someone to throw to, or replace safety. Because Devin McCourty and Patrick Chung are both getting old, and Devin McCourty's leaving. Well, he's a free agent. I don't want to say he's leaving.
Don't forget Van Noy's a free agent too.
And yes, but Laviska Shenault Jr. out of Colorado, probably butchered that name, but
That's okay.
he has the size. I think he has the size to be a good target for Tom Brady, and the rare toughness, strong build, fighter mentality. He doesn't hesitate to get physical. That's all very good stuff that's going to be good in New England for everyone involved. I think Bill Belichick's going to like him a lot. I think Tom's going to like him a lot. Good run after catch skills. He's elusive in the open field, not to the extent of CeeDee Lamb, but he's willing to grow across the middle like CeeDee Lamb, or like Jerry Jeudy, excuse me. He has good hands, quality height, quality size, like I said. Is a good separator, which is important for the New England Patriots because they lack that. They lacked receivers who could get separation. And can really attack zone well as a receiver, which is another big thing for Tom Brady and the Patriots. So I think this is a really good fit.
What did you think about what I wrote on the doc you shared?
Jake Fromm?
Yeah.
He's not – I like Jordan Love more than Jake Fromm.
Me too.
So I'm not going to speak anything on that because I don't really like Jake Fromm. So that's my answer. Would be
– I got you. Fromm to me was the Brady prototype. The can move in the pocket but not out of it. Good arm, good accuracy. But no, I hear you. I honestly I understand why you took who you did from this kid. He is great. He's fast. He's elusive, and he's very physical. But I think they're going quarterback. I really do. And if Jordan Love or Jacob Eason are right here, I really think Bill Belichick's going to pull the trigger. Because look, I said this to a buddy of mine on the way home. I said, listen, if anything, they're not offering Brady more than a 1-year contract. They're not.
No.
He's 42. And if you get Tom to come back and you can draft a first-round talent here, that's a win-win. I honestly think Brady's not going to end up there. I think Brady's going to go to Vegas for a year because Giselle wants the heck out of the cold. But, yeah, I would go quarterback here, but I definitely see why you did that because if Brady does commit, he needs weapons, and it's what he's asked them to get him. So now you can see if they do get him this, Brady could come back. And no, I got you. I understand 100%. 24, the New Orleans Saints. Let's get Michael Thomas a running buddy. And I am going to take their Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama.
Yeah.
Him and Judy were tough to cover. And if you give Michael Thomas a running mate like that, holy cow. But the question is, are they going to have to draft a quarterback? Because he's not sure. If you heard any of the stuff he did at the Super Bowl, he's not sure. I'm going to err on the side of caution here, and I'm going to give them Henry Ruggs because I think if Drew Brees retires, they're going to hand Teddy Bridgewater a boatload of money, which would be very smart. I don't think Sean Payton would want to draft a quarterback right now unless it was late and he could sit behind Teddy. But, yeah, I like Henry Ruggs here. They called him a mixture of Marquise Brown and Tyreek Hill on one of the things I read, and that's scary good. And I think the fact that he'd be going into an offense that is the closest thing to air raid we see in the NFL, is going to help him out. And especially with he'd also be number 3 on he'd be number 3 on their list of people to throw the ball to, behind Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. So to have him as a third option, that's pretty special. So yeah, Henry Ruggs goes to New Orleans at 24.
I like it. I like him as a receiver more than Chanel, but or Chanel. I don't want to. I don't know how French he is.
I know who you meant. Yeah.
But I think the fit with Patriots is a little bit better, and the fit with the Saints is better for Ruggs. So all thumbs up on that pick.
Cool.
So we are at 25 with the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm gonna go C.J. Henderson from Florida. He
the defensive back, right?
Yes, cornerback out of Florida.
Nice.
6'1", 186, kind of slender, but speed, size, in terms of length, very standard stuff, but are up to par, if not more so. He had 11 passes broken up and 33 tackles in 2019. One of the things that stands out is he's able to run receivers and prevent separation really well. He applies his speed effectively. His tackling is bad, but overall, he plays because of that ability to stay with receivers. He plays good man. His zone can be improved, and due to that size, speed, etc., I think he'll go in the first round. And the Minnesota Vikings have a serious need at defensive back. They're going to be at or over the cap by the time they have to approach free agency. And Xavier Rhodes is a cut candidate. Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander are likely going to be free agents. So Henderson will be a good project for them to kind of mold into their defense moving forward, because their offense is going to be fine. They're going to execute the heavy running portion of their heavy running defense approach with Gary Kubiak, and hopefully the sound defense part can come back to speed with some overturn.
No, I like that. I mean, if you watch the playoffs, the Vikings got beat on some pretty easily covered routes because their defensive secondary wasn't the best. I almost may have gone defensive line here with them just because of the way they had issues stopping the run late in the year. But no, I like this kid. And about the tackling thing, that was Greedy's big thing coming out of the draft last year. And Greedy was hitting dudes.
Yep.
Greedy decided he wanted to tackle when he got to the pros. So a lot of it could be, I'm going to save myself till I make the money. So I would hold off judgment on that. But no, I like this kid here to fit right in with Minnesota, especially with the cap issues. I didn't realize they had cap problems. So as I see you typing on the thing here, because I got my phone up. So I'm at 26 with Miami again. And you know what? Let's go to the well one more time, and let's give them Josh Jones out of Houston. Another offensive lineman. Do I wish the Browns had 3 first-round picks to take offensive linemen? I do, but they don't. So, yeah, Josh Jones, he's probably the best one left on the board. Houston was I don't want to say run and shoot, but they were a run-heavy team. A lot of Tom Herman schemes, for some reason, stayed with them. But, yeah, he's a good run blocker. He's decent in pass blocking. I wouldn't make him a left tackle. I think you would have to use a better left tackle, but he could play right tackle. And then, you know, if they draft Tua, you got to move somebody else to right tackle because you got to protect Tua's blind side. But I like Josh Jones. I like Jones here, especially with the issues Miami had. Like you said, that guys were getting hit every, what'd you say, like 3 seconds or something when we were talking before?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like Josh Jones here. Again, you protect the quarterback with the offensive line, the running game, and you and I have basically given Miami 2 first-round offensive tackles or offensive linemen and DeAndre Swift. So the Fitzmagic will be healthy.
Okay, the Seattle Seahawks need to address the defense. With the questions that Jadeveon Clowney, are you going to pay him? Are you going to let him go? Up to them. You have some other pieces. Jaron Reed, maybe on his way out, and then on the other side of the ball, there are a couple pieces. But just in case, I think we are at the point in the first round where this could be a very good value pick. Yetur Gross-Matos, edge rusher, Penn State. The junior, 6'5", 264, a little undersized in terms of thickness, but he has a good long frame. Long levers in terms of his hands, and he knows how to use them. He can win first contact pretty well. Again, like Apensa, he can win with size in terms of vertically, and can pursue on pass rushing. Can tackle really well, but all the physical traits are there. The only thing is mentally, he has sometimes a hard time diagnosing the run, which could be Pete Carroll could really help him out with that and get him to kind of process that faster and get him into their whole run the ball, hit the person who's running the ball, turn to the pass when we want to open it up style of football.
And I like that pick, and I can tell you from watching him for the last couple of years that he does have issues diagnosing the run. I was going to mention that if you didn't. The cool thing about when you bring up some of the Big Ten guys is I have seen them over the last few years, so I have more of a mental Rolodex of them. Mm-hmm. But no, he's a great pick for them, and they do need to address the defensive line. I'm going to jump ahead around, and I'm going to throw a name at you that I think is going to be high on people's draft boards in round 2. And I'm going to throw 2 names at you, actually. 2 names we haven't heard. Has anyone thought of Jonathan Taylor yet?
Not me. I'm going to be honest.
And, again, it's a little homer, but Dobbins. I mean, I don't know. Seattle, in later rounds, I like a KJ Hill, a possession guy, because we saw in the playoffs that DK can open it up. But no, they definitely have to work on their defensive line. But running back's going to be a need for them. I mean, they had to bring Marshawn out of retirement.
Yeah. Well, Chris Carson was hurt.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Carson can't stay healthy, they're going to need a stable of running backs, and Marshawn's not going to be able to come off the streets of Oaktown and slap people around for a lot more years. I mean, he's getting up there.
Agreed.
So that
but go ahead.
Yeah. That puts me at 28 with the bane of my existence, the Baltimore Ravens. And as much as it hurts me to say this, they're going to go linebacker and they're going to go Kenneth Murray.
Okay.
Which bugs me because it hurts my team, but at the same time, Murray's probably he's the best linebacker left, in my opinion. But at the same time, CJ Mosley, his loss wasn't felt most of the season. It was felt 3 times. It was felt the first game against the Browns when they ran all over him. And not even that one, not 3 times, but twice. It was felt in that game against Tennessee because they couldn't stop. They couldn't get a stop when they needed one. And they just kept not. Did they play Tennessee? Yeah. Derrick Henry ran over them too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They couldn't get a stop on the second level. Henry would set his steam and he would run over people. I think this guy can actually make some plays against a running back like that. But yeah, they got to go linebacker. I like Murray here.
I like that pick. So I am blessed with the very hard decision of the Tennessee Titans late round selection. So turnover is expected on both sides of the ball. I think that Derrick Henry's a free agent. Ryan Tannehill's a free agent. They're two cognitive pieces to their playoff run. And Jack
Yep.
Conklin is additionally a pending free agent. The Titans had 9 players with 100 or more pass rushing snaps this season. The only one with a pressure rate above 10% was Cameron Wake, and
Really?
he's likely to retire as well. So and Harold Landry hasn't really stepped into the effective pass rusher, or I guess elite pass rusher that he was touted to be. And there's still time. I think he has a lot of athleticism, and he has good hand placement, so I think he can get there. But they need to find a difference maker off the edge to improve on their 32% pressure rate as a team.
Yeah, agreed. If anything killed them in that game against Kansas City was the fact they couldn't get to Patrick Mahomes.
I don't have a standout guy on the edge that I think that would be good, would be like a no brainer here. But in terms of like Matos would be my last no brainer. But I think that Nick Coe could be like a guy that I would.
Okay.
He broke out in 2018. He's pretty dangerous. There's not like he's not one of those guys that's like, wow, I'm gonna put him here. So I'm not that confident in this pick, but I do like what statistics he put up for Auburn. He's a good tackler inside or outside, but I think out of pure necessity, I'm probably gonna go Nick Coe from Auburn.
No, that's the late round stuff is always tough. It's really just a little tough to get in and figure out who you're going to put in. Like I'm sitting here at 30 with Green Bay, and I'm like, but actually 30, I think I can make a pick. I don't see it written on the sheet here, so I'm going to throw it out here, and hopefully I'm right that I didn't see him come off. And I am going to go with Patrick Queen from LSU.
All right.
And, I mean, look at what happened in the NFC Championship game. They got shredded.
Right.
By a guy who's been cut by 6 teams and played at Purdue. They need help on the second level. I toyed with the D lineman from Auburn. The other one. Marlon Davidson. But yeah, I think the linebacker makes more sense here for Green Bay. I happen to like him there. The other thing was I almost let Cole Kmet drop to catch passes from Aaron Rodgers. I like Green Bay to go possession receiver in the second round, but I think they got to address the linebacking core first.
I definitely think that the second option for Aaron Rodgers is more of a pressing need. When Devontae Adams was injured, Aaron Rodgers actually had more success in terms of fantasy. He had more boom games. I think he had 4 out of his 5 games without Devontae Adams were boom games. And then, but Devontae Adams is really talented, and you need a guy to pair with him. All those high-level weapons are off the board, and unless the Green Bay Packers trade up, they're not going to get a Lamb, a Judy, even like a Chanel or a Ruggs. Well, maybe Ruggs. He might fall. Or I'm LaVisca. I'm just gonna straight out call you that. Just gonna stake that one. But yeah, I do think second level is a need, not a pressing need like receiver is, but I like it.
See, I can see them taking a KJ Hamler or in the second round, or a somebody like that, Hamler's got some decent breakaway speed, but he can be a possession guy if needed to be. But yeah, Rodgers needs something.
Yeah,
But
and
I think the defense needs to be addressed first.
well, I disagree on that, but Noah Fant last year would have been really good for them.
Oh my God, yes.
He has circulations, connections with the Shanahan system, uh, or like tight ends do, I should say. And we've seen the success with George Kittle. And Matt LaFleur is a product of that. So that would have been a big attraction. And he's obviously really talented vertically. So that would have been good. So maybe Komet or our friend from Notre Dame. But yeah.
Yeah, the other, I mean, you talk about the Shanahan system. Let's go all the way back. Shannon Sharp's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So I'm at. Oh no, it's your pick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's me.
So are you going to move San Francisco to 31, or are you going to leave them there?
What I have in 32.
Yeah, I think you thought they were going to win last night.
Well, we'll say they're 31.
Okay.
So, congratulations to Kansas City. First of all, by the way, forgot to mention that.
Yes.
Happy for them. Happy for the fans that have waited so long.
50 years.
So the thing here is there's a likelihood they could trade down. I think the two big things are, one, running back, which isn't that big because Damian Williams, look at his playoff success. Not the most physically talented, athletically gifted guy, but he gets the job done. Another Mike-ism. So the other one would be Chris Jones. There's a chance he's going to leave. And I think that's more of a pressing need for them, assuming he would. They fixed that back end in the secondary throughout the back half of the season, and they actually turned into a really well-suited defense. But it's kind of hard for me. I'm going to throw out Raekwon Davis from Alabama just in case Chris Jones does depart and you have to replace him. And even if you don't, that's a nice rotational piece to have in the beginning of his career. He has 30 fat. He's 6'6", 316 pounds, great size, 35 and a quarter inch arms, 10-inch hands, and projection of 5'140", which isn't that important because it's projection. He's good size and quickness and athleticism really shine out for him on the inside, which is obviously important for an interior defensive lineman, especially in today's NFL. So not much else to say. Raekwon Davis to the Chiefs at 31. At 32.
That's all right. I'll take because I was looking at San Francisco anyway. It's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I like your pick there, and it is tough at the back end. You're the Super Bowl champion. You don't need a whole lot. As far as the Super Bowl runner-up goes, I'm really going to go off board here. And yes, they have Mostert. They have players that made big impacts on the offensive side of the ball late in the year. I think Kyle Shanahan needs to trust Jimmy G a little more than he did in this game. But here's where I go Big Ten running back, and I go Jonathan Taylor to San Francisco. They have a great offensive line. And think about what Jonathan Taylor did behind the Big Hoss offensive line at Wisconsin. He only broke the record for most yards by a running back in the history of the NCAA. When you put him in an offense where you can toss the ball to Deebo Samuel and he can go 35, or you have good weapons on the outside, you have an elite running back there, you're going to make some serious noise. He's not only he can break away, but he can play possession. He can run through you. Jonathan Taylor to San Francisco late in the first round.
I disagree because I think you have a very nice tandem there, a trio there with the three 49ers running backs. But That's an infusion of talent, sure, but they have a bigger need in the secondary. Jimmy Ward probably going to be a free agent, and Richard Sherman showed in the Super Bowl. Although I had all but good hope for him, I actually like him as a player. I like some of his intensity off the field, although that can get a little excessive. But I do support most of it, and I agree with a lot of it. But that's neither here nor there. He lacks speed against Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill. Um,
Agreed.
and Trayvon Diggs can slide right in, or not slide right in because he's very raw, but he can learn from Richard Sherman the ins and outs of the NFL because Richard Sherman's one of the smartest players in the league, and then apply that speed accordingly. 6'2", 199 pounds, slim but long and fast and athletic. Uh, Big upside for the 49ers. I would go with that. But another guy is Paulson Adebo from Stanford. Richard Sherman's
Yep.
alma mater. But I do like Trayvon Diggs slightly more.
And no, and I hear you. And I did see the little bit of the Super Bowl I did watch, because truth be told, I didn't watch much of it. I did actually say in the podcast last night when I was recording, and I just saw Tyreek Hill shake the shorts off of Richard Sherman. You're right. What he lacks in speed was shown last night, but I think the Chiefs are the only team that could show it. With their defensive line and Armstead and Bosa and even with those guys there pressuring the quarterback. The only team that really got to them all year was Kansas City. How many times did we see San Francisco go up 30 points?
And really only in the second half.
Exactly. I mean, in the last 6 minutes, Frank. I mean, Mahomes is an animal. But I really think with Garoppolo, and my prejudice against New England's about to come out, Brady's relief valve was always the tight end or the crossing route. They've been running the same playbook since 2000. All the vertical routes Randy Moss ran are the seam routes Gronk ran. All the crossing routes Troy Brown ran are the same ones Edelman and Welker ran. Jimmy G is a more athletic quarterback than Brady. I think he's going to need a running back with him that's really shown he can take a pounding and run the ball 25, 30 times a game. I love Jonathan Taylor. I absolutely love Jonathan Taylor. And if you add him to that offense, they can play more ball control than they did in the Super Bowl. And they could have played keep away in the second half from Mahomes. So with that defense, you can do that. You can play keep away and have a defense that forces 3 and outs.
Yeah. I think, but also I agree with you completely. But Richard Sherman is approaching. Not approaching. He's plus 30 now.
Yeah.
So that speed is naturally going to decline, and I think Trayvon Diggs slide him right in there eventually, and you'll be all set.
Oh no, you're not wrong at all. I just think I believe they could get the corner next year and use one more year of Richard Sherman, and then move on from there. Let me ask you this. I know we were going to talk about the first round tonight. What second round surprises could you see? Because I'll tell you what I told you I've been looking at Bleacher Report. They actually have Grant Delpit sliding in the second round.
Wow. Nah.
I don't think so either. But let me just tell you what they put. And listen, Bleacher Report's one of the few sites I actually pay attention to that's not named Mel Kiper and Todd McShay. What did they have here? Come on. Yeah, they had Delpit going to the Dolphins at 39. McKinney to the Lions at 35. Now that has some merit to where you pair him with Okudah. You take Okudah at 3 and you take a good safety at 35. That's not bad.
I'd be very happy if I was them, if that was the case. But I don't think either of them are making it out of the. Well, McKinney might slide in the second round, but I don't think Delpit is. I think Delpit's.
I think Delpit's first rounder too.
Athletic to drop, but again, we're early in this draft process. This was my rough draft of my big board. My
Same
application
here.
to needs could be improved as we go through the months, and we're probably going to do another one. Uh, I'm definitely going to do another one with or without Mike. We'll see. Hopefully, we can work something out.
Absolutely.
Uh, but we will wrap this up. Unless closing thoughts for Mike, I'm all set. I'm pretty tired, but that's not an excuse. I got all my shit off, so
No, the only thing I would say is it is very early in the process. A lot of things are going to change between trades, free agency starts. But no, you know what? I think we're pretty solid for the night after the Super Bowl. I hope my boys have an offensive lineman sitting there because God knows Baker needs some help. But no, and the only pick that really stumped me was Tampa. It's like, what are you going to do? If they part with Jameis, they're going quarterback. If they keep Jameis, are they going weapons? They going defense? Tampa was the toughest one for me to get my hands on.
I actually have one question for you, and that tight end did surprise me. Do you remember who you put for the Falcons?
Atlanta. Chase on from LSU.
Okay, thanks. All right. All right, we're all wrapped up on the recording, but
awesome. That was fun, man.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, let me know when you want to do the next one. Give me a couple of days. I'll actually do a little more research this time than for this one.
I'll give you a couple weeks. I gotta delve myself into this.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sonny gave me a week last year when we did the big one. Like when we did that one with you, me, him, and the kid, the Packers fan from Cleveland, which always messed my head up. But yeah, this was fun, man. We got to do this again.
Of course. Okay. I'll see you soon then. Or I'll talk to you soon.
Take care, bud.